Hello everyone. So I believe that AI can have very useful real world case scenarios where we can actually use it practically. And like I said in the last video, I'm going to show you how you can create your own podcast for your own business. And that's what I wanted to do today. In this video, I create a podcast for business, a very small business. It's a coffee shop, imaginary coffee shop called Golden Beans. And I create a podcast with it. And this is something that I think anyone really can do with any business, and I want to take you through it. So the first thing that we're going to do, or the first question that you really need to answer, is why create a podcast for your business? And the way to think about it is a podcast for your business is like chatting to your customers. So this is talking to your customers when they are washing their dishes, when they're out on a jog, out on a run, or when they're doing something and then they're listening to like something on their headphones or in their earpiece. So it's essential that you can have that, and it's not going to hurt. It's going to really just keep on improving your business, keep a way to keep in touch with your customers. And I think that's what the importance of having a podcast for your business. It's just going to keep your word out there. So if, for example, if you have promotions that you want to promote, if you have new products that you are coming out with, this is a way of getting the word out there. So the first thing that we're going to do for this specific business, which is a Golden Beans, it's a coffee shop. The first thing we're going to need, we're going to have a sales data from a couple of months. We're going to do a month on this one, and then we're going to have like a template of the kind of things that we want to promote. So for example, we're going to have a 50% offer on a very specific date, which is like next week on Wednesday. We're going to input that, and the idea here is to see if NotebookLM will be able to catch all this and still come up with that. So for the basic podcast framework that we have, this is kind of what I came up with. And here we have the introduction. I don't want this podcast to be too long. I just want it to be a bit short. So we have the introduction. We have like a monthly and weekly sales. I was thinking this could be like a month thing, like a monthly thing. So we have like a monthly sales, and then we have like a special announcement, which, like I said, is going to be 50% off next Wednesday. And after that, we have like tips and tricks here and there. So we have like coffee origin spotlight. This is teaching people about your product, and then after that we have like a Q&A, customer feedback, and then wrap up, and then call to action. So this is basically the framework that we have for the Google Docs document. This is another thing that we're going to feed into NotebookLM. And then of course we have NotebookLM, and then the last thing is we have the sales data. So this is data that I got from Kaggle, and you can see here we have the invoice note, we have the description, quantity, invoice date, unit price, customer ID, and then the country. So this is the data that I'm going to feed to NotebookLM. So currently I should state that it does not take Excel sheets. So I'm going to download this as a PDF. So just keep that in mind. So let us start. So I'm going to come to, this is just sales data from 2010. I believe this is December 2010. Yes, so December 2010. So I'm just going to come to here. I'm going to save it as PDF. So I'm going to save downloads, and then here I'll just come to PDF. Should be somewhere. I have terrible eyesight. There we are. PDF. Okay, cool. So I'm going to save it in downloads. So save that in downloads. So the PDF as that is saving, publishing. Good. I'm going to come back to NotebookLM right here. Like I said, if you want to go to NotebookLM, go Google NotebookLM. I'm going to leave the links in the description below, and then come here, create new. And then create new. Like I said in the last video, we have 3 sections. We have the sources section, we have the chat section, and then we have the studio section. So here we're going to add the sources. So the sources here are going to be 2 things. We're going to have the podcast framework, and then we're also going to have the PDF that we are downloading right now. I already have it downloaded somewhere. So here I'm going to come drop that PDF. Okay, cool. So this is a PDF that we just downloaded. So I'm going to come here, drag and drop that. I'm just going to come to my files. There, that's a PDF. Drag and drop it there. and then we're going to add the source. This is a Google Docs document, which is going to be here. So this is a document that's going to contain more or less the framework that we want in terms of how we want the podcast to be structured. And then the last bit, which is like the secret sauce, is we're going to have a customized prompt for this. So just click on customize, and then this is a prompt that I use. So welcome listeners to the Golden Beans monthly and weekly roundup. In this episode, you're going to be digging into your favorite coffee updates and more. We'll highlight last month's sales data, share exciting weekly trends, and reveal details about our up and coming 50% off this Wednesday. Plus, we'll shine a spotlight on the origin of one of our favorite beloved beans, Ethiopian, the word, and then stick around for a brief Q&A and wrap up with actionable tips to elevate your coffee experience. So let's get brewing. So I'm just going to generate that. I'm going to click on generate that. Yeah, and then it's going to generate a podcast based on the sales data that we had, and also based on the podcast framework. It's going to frame it that way, and then after that, obviously, when it comes to the customized prompt, it's going to come up with a podcast. So I'm going to let this generate, and then I'm going to show you the results in a bit. Okay, so like I said, for the template creation, it's going to have the introduction. We're going to have the performance updates, special announcement that is a 50% off on next Wednesday, and then we are going to product highlight, which is a very special Ethiopian coffee, and then Q&A, and then call to action. So all that real world scenarios as that is going to be. So we want the podcast to have like announce a 50% off sale, share the monthly performance data, and then spotlight on the Ethiopian coffee. So that's what we want it to be, and as you can see, that's what it really did come out with. And then the last bit now is best practices for business podcasting. So I think that NotebookLM is going to be used to create content, especially when it comes to certain businesses. If you have a business that you have different types of products and you want to get the word out there in a place where people can really have access to. So for example, if it's Spotify, if it's YouTube, and if it's on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, this is one of the ways that you can do it. It doesn't take a lot of time at all. It's really easy to do. It's free right now. So there's always have that in mind. Why not do it? So I think that's like the really important bit when it comes to it, is you can generate multiple episodes, outlines at once. You can create consistent segments, transitions, and maintain brand voice across all episodes, because you're going to be using the same prompt more or less. And then when it comes to time management, especially in NotebookLM, you can create multiple batch episodes all at once. So like on a weekly basis, you can sit down in 1 week and then create episodes for the entire month. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, you can update the templates very quickly. You can generate variations for different platforms. So for example, for YouTube, you can have different episodes for that. For Spotify, you can have different episodes for that. And then you can repurpose content for social media. So you can take that content and then turn it into like a video content for like YouTube or TikTok or something like that. So that's just something that I think is going to be very helpful moving forward. Quality control, things to remember is that review all generated content for accuracy. Always remember that NotebookLM is still AI and it does not necessarily have thinking capabilities right now, so it doesn't know right from wrong. So always just double check. So cross-reference business data, the one that you have, just to be able to maintain your brand's unique voice, and then add personal touches. Like I said, the customizing of the prompt is one of the best things that NotebookLM has come up with, and I think it's going to be very helpful. So let's have that in mind. And then some limitations I will say to keep in mind would be NotebookLM works with your uploaded content only. So it doesn't really have the chance to go and scour the web for new information. And then after that, always just regular updates require re-uploading documents. Like I said in the last video, especially when it comes to something like Google Docs, you have to keep re-uploading it because it doesn't necessarily sync with Google Docs. So have that in mind. And then always verify numbers and statistics. Like I said, it's still an AI, so always double check. And then add human touch. And this is where we have the customized prompt, just to make sure that it's going to sound different than anyone else who's producing the same content. And that's it. That's more or less it. I'm going to attach the podcast at the end of the video, and you can listen to it. It's like 5 minutes long, so that long. You can listen to it and see if you can create one for your own business as well. I think this is going to be big moving forward, not just for learning, but can really be used for a lot of businesses moving forward. Yeah, I hope this helped. I hope this has kind of like given you an idea on what to do, on how big NotebookLM can be. And this is the worst that it's going to be. And that's really the really cool thing. A thing that I think a lot of people have been asking for is if you can create it in your own voice. That isn't there yet right now. You can, but you'll have to use something like 11 Labs, which is a paid platform, but it's still okay, but it still does do a really good job. I'm going to create a video on that later on. I just wanted to do this to show you that the free things that we have right now are really good and can be really impactful in real world scenarios. So that's something to always keep in mind. And I hope to see you in the next one. I hope this was a good video. I hope you've learned something, and I'll put the episode in the back of the video or something. I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to be creating more videos, more tutorials moving forward. The podcast I've been creating of late were just to keep you in touch with what's happening with AI right now, to kind of like teach you AI. I hope that they are helpful. And yeah, I'm creating more videos for this week and next week as well. I'm going to have a video on DeepSeek AI, which is awesome, coming up. Yeah, so I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
All right, coffee lovers, welcome back for another deep dive into the world of golden beans.
That's right. We're here to give you the rundown on all things golden beans, monthly and weekly. You know, all the good stuff.
Definitely. The latest and greatest. We'll be highlighting December's bestsellers.
Yes.
We'll check out some weekly sales trends. And of course, we have to give you all the info on the 50% off sale happening this Wednesday.
Can't miss that.
Huge. Plus, we're going to take a trip to the origin of one of my favorite beans, Ethiopian yirgacheffe. And stick around to the end. We've got a quick Q&A and some tips for you all to brew like pros at home.
It's going to be a great deep dive.
So let's rewind back to December, the holidays. You know what everyone was loving?
Oh, tell me.
Holiday blend.
Oh, it's so good.
I mean, duh.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love those like warm, cozy spices?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like everyone kind of wants those familiar flavors around the holidays, like a little nostalgia.
Totally. And you know what? I think that plays into a bigger trend we're seeing. People are really searching for those unique experiences,
For sure.
especially like around seasons or special occasions. It's not just about the coffee itself. It's the whole vibe, the moment.
The feeling you get with it, yeah.
Exactly. So let's shift gears a bit. What about weekly trends? What's been catching your eye?
Oh, the bundle deals have been super popular.
So bundles, yeah.
Especially the ones that like pair a bag of beans with the travel mug.
Ah, very convenient.
Right, like convenience and value, that's what people are looking for.
Makes total sense. And speaking of value, huge reminder, this Wednesday we got that 50% off sale on all our blends. So mark those calendars.
Oh yeah, stock up on your faves or try something new, like maybe that Ethiopian yirgacheffe we're going to talk about.
Ooh, yes. Perfect timing. Actually, before we get to that, we have a listener question that came in.
Okay, hit me.
What's the best way to brew yirgacheffe at home to like really get all those unique flavors?
Great question. I mean, you can brew it a bunch of different ways, but for yirgacheffe, I'd say try a pour-over method with a paper filter.
That's a good one.
It lets those delicate floral and citrus notes really shine through, without anything messing with them.
Okay, so let's talk about those notes. Ethiopian yirgacheffe. Just the name is like a whole journey.
It sounds so fancy.
I know. Grown in the highlands of Ethiopia, famous for those, so delicate floral aromas and bright acidity.
It's really cool how they process the beans, too. It plays a big part in that unique flavor. Like they sun-dry them on these raised beds, and that creates a more like complex and fruity cup.
It's such a special coffee experience.
Yeah.
All right, so quick recap. We covered December's hits, the big 50% off sale this Wednesday.
Don't forget that.
And we took a little trip to Ethiopia with the yirgacheffe. Want all the details on the sale and more info on the beans? Head over to Golden Beans website, or you can follow us on social media.
We're everywhere. And remember, we've only just scratched the surface of coffee here.
Just so much more to learn.
There's like a whole universe of brewing methods, roast levels.
It's never ending.
It's amazing.
It is pretty amazing. And hey, speaking of amazing, come back next week. We'll be exploring the world of cold brew.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Until then, happy brewing, everyone.
See you next time.